now. Hello, everyone in Facebook world and those that are catching the recording over on YouTube. Hello and welcome. This is the Meaningful Connection and Contribution series. This is our small business edition because businesses can become super transactional, but we don't want to leave the relationship out of business because there's a human behind it, especially small businesses, right? Like there is a human behind this business and we don't want to forget that. Because when we do, we don't meaningfully connect and we don't meaningfully contribute in a way that feels really good to us, the people that are running the business, the people that are receiving the service. And so today I have with me Stayci Avery, who I have gotten the pleasure to get to know, maybe like over the past year or so.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's been really cool to get to hear your story. So I'm hoping we get to share a bit of that today. But first, Stayci, share with us who you are and what your business is.
Well, hello, everybody. Good afternoon. I am Stayci Avery. I am a mom. I am a wife. I have a fantastic family. I live here in Pennsylvania, and I have had the great fortune over the past 3 years to change my life completely. My life, my personality, the way that I portray myself, the way that I react to other people, pretty much 180% from the person that I was a little over 3 years ago, because I have become not only a client of my program of Optavia. Optavia is the program that I now am a health coach for. I've been doing that for about 3.5 years now, and I get to wake up every day with passion, with a joie de vivre, with an excitement, and just a really happiness that I get to help change people's lives now after this program changed my life.
Wow. So you jumped right into like how we can go ahead and like connect with the human of you. And I love that. I love that. So you already started saying how life was different for you 3.5 years ago. And some of the ways that you feel now, some of the ways you experience life now, what was life like for you prior to that?
It was different for me than it was for other people looking in and seeing me. So, we all have this facade that we, yay, life is great. And that was me. I was the yay, life is great. And no, it's really not. I've always had an amazing husband. My girl's wonderful. Never have so grateful for that part. But a lot of other things. I was extremely overweight, which kept me at bay in terms of my confidence level, what I was willing to, give of myself, because I just didn't feel worthy. I don't know, people think that when I say shy, it's a weird term to use for me, but I was shy. I'm still a little shy in certain ways. But I was just a really depressed, sad person, very uncomfortable in my own skin, didn't really love going out, didn't really want to go shopping with my girls who, were at the age where we all, should be doing those types of things. And I really didn't want to even leave my house most of the time. So that's kind of who I was back then. And I would never have been on this show with you. That's for sure. I was a shell, and I was hiding. That's what I was doing. And I wouldn't wear this pretty pink color to I was black. Everything I wore was black, always black.
Yeah. Wow. And so what is it that helped you decide to, because that's a lot going on, right? I mean, that I call that, the way you started describing it, like you look like an outward success, but feel like an inward mess, right? So it's like what people see versus what you're experiencing inside are not aligned. And so there's this incongruency that you are battling with every day. So like, I need to show this, even though I'm experiencing this, and I need to look put together, even though I feel like I'm falling apart. And even the most successful, and I'm going to use air quotes because I think that we need to redefine our definition of success, but even those who people think look so successful have that experience, and people don't realize because they feel like they have to show the world they have it all together, even and especially when they feel like they don't have it all together on the inside. Was that kind of your experience?
Well, yes. I mean, look, at the time, I didn't really, I mean, I was a mom, I was working at a preschool, I didn't really, I wasn't really out there for people to really kind of judge or view me or whatever, because I stayed as quiet as I possibly could. I've always tried to stay positive. I mean, we've gone through major monetary issues for years and years and years. I mean, short sales on homes and debt and all of those things that were, piling on top of the way that I felt about myself. And that plays a big role into everything. So yeah, I mean, I tried to smile always. I've always, stay positive and positivity will come. And every day I would try that, but, it wasn't, nothing was happening because I didn't change. I wasn't changing anything about me to make my life change. I was just sad and mopey in my own world.
Yeah, and I think it's important for folks that are listening in that can resonate with some of this. This is what we talk about when in some forms of toxic positivity, is that sense of like, I need to try to be positive, and in so doing, really neglecting our own internal emotional experiences and our own internal things that actually need to be tended to, that need to be acknowledged. And that is different than having a positive perspective on life and being able to see things in a positive light. There's a line between the two, right? When we talk about healthy positivity, we're talking about being able to acknowledge that there's a spectrum of emotions and being able to honor that and feel that, while also moving through them so that we can kind of find the light at the other end of the tunnel, so to speak. That's different than neglecting our own emotions, putting on a smiley face, as a mask, and just kind of pushing everything to the side and not dealing with it and hiding it. So folks that are listening in that can resonate with that, just to know the difference between those two, I think is really helpful. Feeling like crap happens to all of us, even the most positive of people. Like, it just does, right?
Yeah. And I think as moms, I think we feel it a lot more because, what do we have to be so sad about? We have these beautiful children. We have a great life. We have a beautiful family. What could be so bad? And sometimes it's, sometimes it's things that are happening in your life, and sometimes it's chemical, right? I mean, sometimes we can't control the way we are feeling or any of those things. I was fortunate enough that it wasn't that with me. It was just, the way that I was thinking about myself internally, and, and sadly, I let that seep into my whole world. When I looked in the mirror, that's what I saw.
And in our body, our brain, it's all connected, right? So they interact with one another. The way our body and our brain function interacts with the way that we're thinking, and back and forth and back and forth. But at some point, you decided that enough was enough, or how would you describe the turning point for you?
Well, really, I wasn't looking for the turning point. I was overweight pretty much my whole life. I mean, my whole life, my whole family, not healthy, didn't eat fresh vegetables, didn't know what to eat properly. My father died of complications from diabetes. And, I've got family members that are very, very unhealthy. So I was always unhealthy. I was dieting my whole life. I yo-yo dieted. I lost, I gained. So when I decided that I was going to start doing this program, it was just another diet to me. That's what my intention was. I wasn't intending to change my whole entire life. I just wanted to feel better about myself. So when someone introduced me to this program, my coach introduced me to this program, and then I said, okay, I'll try another program. And then literally within a week and a half, these light bulbs went off like, oh my God, this is not like this is not like every other diet that I have done my whole life. And I felt amazing. And I had this energy, and I was eating all day, but I was eating the right things, and I was learning stuff in 2 weeks. I mean, like, I dieted forever. I never learned anything. I learned how to count points, or, those things that don't really do anything for you. But until I felt that way and realized that there was something more, that this program might actually do what it is that I've been searching for 50 years, I said, I need to share this with other people. And 2 weeks after I started on a diet, I was the heaviest that I'd ever been in my life. I decided, not sure why, that I needed to become a coach and share this program with other people, because I felt like it was like almost like the fountain of youth. Like, I found this secret. And once I did that, not only was I on the path to my own health physically, and mentally, because this program does that as well, but now I got to wake up every day and help other people feel that way. Me, like, who am I? I was changing baby diapers at the time. Like, me, I got to wake up and help people change their lives. And within my first couple of clients, I could see that already. So I got the benefits of of me feeling good, healthy wise, brain wise. And now I have this excitement that I get to wake up every day and help other people do the same thing. And I was getting a paycheck for doing that.
Yeah.
So it kind of started there. And that was 3.5 years ago.
So you weren't looking for it, but you were ready for it.
Oh, absolutely. I was ready for, my husband, Todd, and I, we were ready for something. We just, and again, like, that positivity, putting it out there, believing that we were good people, and that if we tried and worked hard, then we would find our something, whatever that was.
And beyond working hard, like in the beginning of how you were describing, you were like, I didn't feel worthy. But what I hear you saying now is that you started to feel worthy.
I did, because I was helping myself, which in turn was now helping other people. And again, like, I used to wake up and go into work at 7:30 in the morning and change baby diapers. And yeah, that was an important job. Very important. People go off to work. They left me and, in responsibility of their children, which was very important. But to be able to not only help people feel confident and happy again, but change the patterns of what they have experienced, just like me, for the past 50 years, that there is an answer, that it doesn't have to be a quick fix. It doesn't have to be, depriving your body or drugs or shots these days, but I was actually helping people. And then once my clients also realized the same thing, then they started feeling the same way I was feeling. And then they were helping people. And it's such an amazing feeling. I mean, you get it every day because you're helping people, mentally, mindset wise, really change and evolve and become the people that we want to be, that we're happy to be. And I just feel so lucky. I'm thankful.
I love it. That's beautiful. So you shared a bit about how you've yo-yo dieted your whole life, and I can resonate with that. I was the overweight tomboy growing up. I actually was dieting by the time I was in 5th grade. But this time it felt different for you. So in part, I know that in part is because you were ready, right? You were at a different level of readiness at that point in time in your life than you were at previous times in your life.
Right.
But also in part, you're saying this was different. What was presented to you and what you were open to was different. So what makes it different? Like, what is it about this program that seems so different from your experience?
So, dieting, right? Dieting, when you think about dieting, you think about deprivation. That's what most people think about. They depriving themselves of, delicious food or being able to enjoy or whatever that might be. You lose weight. Great. You lose weight. You can count points. As I said, there's lots of programs where you can count and you're supposed to get to a certain number and you're supposed to lose weight. And I've lost weight. I lost weight many, many times. I would lose it, in my neck, and then I would still have it everywhere else, or I'd lose it in my belly and I'd still have it everywhere else. What this program does is it reprograms everything that you've ever known or thought about being healthy. If you're an unhealthy person growing up, obviously there are people that grow up in a healthy household, which is great. Kudos to you. And that's what I'm trying to do and focusing on for my clients that do have young children that are able to do that. But the way that this program works is that we get your metabolism going first thing in the morning. So for people like me that's starting in their 50s, our metabolisms have completely slowed down. So your metabolism is going all day long. We're eating every 2.5 hours. We're not fasting. We're not giving pills. We're giving actual nutrition to you. So we eat every 2.5 hours, small mini meals, lots of protein, low calories, all your vitamins and minerals that you need in a day are provided to you. I'm teaching you how to make a meal that incorporates any kind of protein that you want, lots and lots of vegetables, healthy fats, carbohydrates we're eating, things we're not keto. That's not what this program is. So we're teaching you how to create meals that are not only nutritious, balanced, but delicious. We don't have to have poached chicken and steamed vegetables every single night. I eat really, really well. And that's one of my most favorite things, is to actually teach people how to create these meals. And I have on my Facebook page, I have recipes after recipes after recipes, which is fantastic. So there's the nutritional piece to this. Obviously we know we're supposed to drink a certain amount of water. As a coach, I make sure that my clients are eating every 2.5 hours. They're drinking all their water. They're making their meal appropriately and learning as they're doing this about the nutrition part, right? That's the first piece of the puzzle. The second piece of the puzzle is working on your mindset. And you can't really do that until you feel confident and in the nutrition part, because that's why we all started. We all started because we want to look better in our clothes and feel better and when we look in the mirror. But once that starts and, you get into the state of fat burn, a form of ketosis, I should say, when you're not hungry, you don't have cravings, your energy level is like this energy. I don't drink coffee. I'm like this all the time, all the time. My sleep is better. My inflammation is down. All the pains and things that I used to have in my body are gone. I don't have them anymore. So that part was great. Then I start, then you start working on your mindset and changing your habits. And there's a system that we call this the Habits of Health Transformational System. It's one of the components of this program, besides the coaching and our amazing online community. This system was created to give you tools to deal with life, all aspects of life, not just nutrition, but dealing with stress, dealing with healthy surroundings. Healthy surroundings could be food. It could be people in your life, which, I've taken that one to heart, and people that know me really well understand what I'm saying. And then just, the people and places and things that you surround yourself with. That's really important. And this system teaches you how to deal with that, how to deal with your stress, how to become from a yes person. Every someone asks me something, oh yeah, sure, I'll do that for you. Oh yeah, to maybe putting myself first sometimes and saying, you know what, that's not going to work for me right now. But those types of things, those types of situations that this program focuses on alongside of the nutrition part. So when you get to your goal of feeling good and looking good, you've also done the mental work at the same time, which is critical to overall health. It's not just about the scale.
So what would you say then for you? Because you said you started feeling the way it translated to me was inspired within 2 weeks of starting the program. So what was the hardest part for you? Because you quickly hooked into the program, right? You quickly felt like something was different. You quickly felt the inspirational spark, but we all know that any change that is sustainable does come with bumps, right? So what part was hardest for you as you navigated not just the physical, but the mental transformation?
I know this sounds crazy, but it wasn't hard. It was just that I found the right program that worked perfectly for me. I'm a foodie. I am not a stress eater. All of those things people say, why do you eat? Why do you eat? I eat because I love food. I love food. I love all kinds of food and I like to eat often. So for me, this program, people, intermittent fasting, I hear constantly. It works for a lot of people. I don't buy into it. For me, it doesn't work for me. I don't get it. I don't want to not eat. I eat all day long. You're telling me that I get to eat all day long, every 2.5 hours, oatmeal and pancakes and chocolate chip cookies and brownies and cinnamon sticks. Like I get to eat all day long, good, delicious food, make these fabulous meals for myself and my family that my family now loves. At the beginning, I was like, oh, no one's going to want to eat this. I'm going to make this spaghetti squash lasagna. No one's going to like this. And then my family starts to eat it and they're loving it. And I'm like, yay, another win. So for me,
The
it was
food part wasn't hard.
the food part wasn't hard, but once you do the food part, you just, I don't even know how to express it, but it's very easy to go from that part to, we have a book. It's called the Life Book. In the Life Book, it is a journal that you start. There's 27 elements, might be 27, I can't remember. It's like a journal that you actually start when you start the program. Where are you now? What are your goals? Where have you been in the past? What are your hurdles? What do you aspire to do, to be, to want? And as you do this program, starting from day one, you interact with yourself, with your own thoughts, with the things. It's just for me. No one else is reading this book. No one else is writing in this book except me. I've never been a journaler before. I've never been to therapy before. And it was just like, okay, I got this. And the way that Dr. Anderson, who was our founder, he wrote these books so that it can really relate to me and to anybody else that's reading it. It's not in like doctor terms, it's layman's terms.
So you, because of your level of readiness and inspiration when you started this, none of it felt hard to you. So are you saying that there were no challenges throughout this entire thing for you?
Well, I think in terms of me being a client, no, there were no, I don't believe that there were many challenges in terms of me being a client doing the program. Yeah, I mean, there are some times when I want to just dig into a bag of potato chips, right? But then as you see your success and as you feel really good, and as you think about the things that you've learned about mindset and choices and stop, challenge, and choose, which is one of our huge components in the book, that we are all adults. We all get to choose what we say yes or no to. But when we think about it thoughtfully and make those decisions, it's a different way about going through that. So becoming a client and doing the program myself was not challenging. The challenging part was that I had to come out of my own shell and now help other people do this program. And I know we're going to get to kind of my hurdle in a little bit. But that's my challenge, because I didn't post on Facebook. I wasn't out there, again, like, who am I to try to help other people? That was the challenge. Are people going to trust in me enough? I've been this overweight person my whole life. Why is somebody going to listen to me?
Mhm.
That was my hurdle that
Yeah.
and that is just me. And this is what I've learned, kicking fear in the face, getting out of your own way and knowing it's not about me. And that took some time.
This is an important point, I think, for everyone to hear, because there are folks listening in, I'm sure, that have had yo-yo dieting experiences and are like, it's impossible for you to say that you have transformed mentally and physically without with zero challenge. However, what I want to say is that there is power in alignment, right? And so when you are at a place of readiness for something, whether it's weight loss, whether it's marital change, whatever the case is, when you are in this level of readiness because of life experiences you've had, you get to that level of readiness, and then you line up with something that is an aligned resource for you, like you did, and you feel inspired and supported by it. It is possible to engage with that process without the conventional hardship and suffering that we often see happen with things like yo-yo dieting, for example, or toxic relationship patterns, or burnout that happens in careers, things like that. It is possible. However, at some points, as you go through that, you will want to up level. And in order to up level, you are going to experience some kind of discomfort or some kind of challenge that is going to help push you. It's going to give you the opportunity to push you outside of your comfort zone so that you can grow. And so what I hear you saying, Stayci, is for you, it came with becoming a coach, right? Like it was time for you to up level, and you're like, okay, I can do this. I'm going to say yes to this. And also it's going to start pushing me outside my comfort zone so I can grow in a different way. But I'm now ready for that because of how I've grown here. And so I just want to clarify that for folks, that it doesn't mean that just because you feel inspired and you line up with something and you found that good resource for you at a certain time and you're ready for it, that then there's going to be no more challenge in your life. That's not what it means. But it does mean that there are certain paths or certain experiences that can be significantly less bumpy, right, than what we're told they have to be in order for things to happen, which is why I said, like, you mentioned, like, you believe that if you work hard, you'll get something right out of it. And I hear that so often, and I try to call out the work hard element in a subtle way, and sometimes not so subtle ways, if I can, because yes, there's action, yes, there's effort, but that is not everything. And when we think that it's everything, it actually leads to the stress, the burnout, and the increased suffering and challenges, right? So I just want to kind of clarify that point. So let's connect to the hurdles that are now coming with this up leveling, so I can support you, I can contribute and connect with you in the way that I do, with where you're at now. You're a coach, you've been a coach for a little while now, you enjoy being a coach, you've seen progress in your clients, but with up leveling comes some discomfort, comes some pushing your own kind of comfort zone, so to speak. So what do you have for me in your area of growth here?
So I started this program as a client March of 2020, March 1st. So push 2 weeks forward, and we are now COVID, right? COVID hits, the world shuts down. I'm still on this program. I have now decided that I'm going to coach this program. I can do this from the comfort of my own home, from my computer, from my phone. I can text, I can talk to people on my phone. I can give them the information about the program. It's great. I built this great business doing just that on the computer and on my phone. I can tell you that, you know, at a certain level of coaching, it is your responsibility to talk to my coaches' clients. That was a hurdle for me, because now I'm like put into this almost, I wasn't just a coach. Now I'm like the coach's coach. Like, I'm like, okay, now I'm up here and now I'm supposed to have all the answers. So that was terrifying. Took me a really long time to get comfortable with that process. But again, I'm still behind a computer. I'm still with a phone, you know, move forward, move forward. I'm building this great business. I'm feeling great. We were able to get out of debt, we were able to buy a new home, all these wonderful things that happened because I got out of my own way. I got myself healthy. I started helping other people, and I was changing all these fantastic things. Now COVID is over. And now business is starting to slow down a little bit because people are out. They're out of their homes. They're doing stuff. They're, going to parties. They're doing this. And my way of working has to change because you can't do business like this anymore. So I have to actually go and talk to people. I have to go meet people. I have to get out from behind my computer and talk face to face with people. I worked in a baby room, an infant room. I didn't have to talk to anybody. I just talked to babies, like cuckoo, caca, whatever I had to do each day. I didn't have to talk to people. Now I have to go out and I have to meet people, and I have to, converse socially about what you do, what do you do, what do I do, and just really learn, use some of the things that I've learned as a coach, listening and all of those really important things. That is my biggest hurdle. So I joined a couple different networking groups. That's where I met you. And I go to these meetings, and when I'm going into a room, I am absolutely terrified every single time I walk into a room. I feel good. I know that I look good, but there's something, little girl, like, I don't know what you want to call it, that just terrifies me to go up to somebody and start conversation about anything. So that's my hurdle now, because the world of what I'm doing has completely changed, and I have to get comfortable with being uncomfortable and just do it, which I've been trying to do.
So the hurdle here is that now that things are shifting, and there's still an online presence, but there's also this offline presence that is available to us, that you want to do that.
I absolutely want to do that. I absolutely want to. And it doesn't have to be in just a networking. It's like if you knew me before, like my friends, they would be like, yeah, Stacey doesn't really like people. Well, it's not that I didn't like people. I just was so self-conscious and uncomfortable with myself, that what are people going to think of me? That it's hard for me. So yes, so walking into any room, whether it's a networking or a party or whatever it might be, I'm going to go to a convention with 15,000 other coaches there. We all have this in common. But it terrifies me to walk into a room and have to start conversations with people that I don't know.
So let's talk about the terrifying thoughts. What are they? What are the fears? Are you able to be specific about that?
I think, am I interesting? Am I intelligent enough? Can I have conversations about more than just this program? That's what I want to do. I want to just be comfortable to just talk and know that if I don't have the right thing to say, that I'm not embarrassed or, whatever comes along with that. So it's really just, I think it's just a fear of what other people think of me.
Which is not uncommon, right? A fear of what other people think of you. But I do want to get clear on what the fears are that you think they will think of you, right? So you think that they'll think you're not intelligent?
Correct. That I'm not intelligent, that I'm not worldly.
What does not worldly mean?
I haven't had lots and lots of experiences of life. I haven't been in the workforce to have some, if I go to a networking meeting, there are, insurance people and finance people and, all of these IT jobs. I don't know anything about any of that because I've never had any experience with any of it. Even being in an office where those jobs existed, I haven't. So I don't know the information. When you're talking to me as an IT person or, about financial wellness or whatever you're doing, I don't know what you're saying. And I want to be able to have the conversation and understand what it is that you do so that I can, converse. But
Do you believe that the only way to feel comfortable with other people is to understand them?
I don't think it's the only way,
Okay.
but it's definitely the thing that I think about the most when I walking into a room.
And then if we were to look underneath the understanding, so by understanding people, where does that get you? Like what do you gain from understanding people more?
I think that the conversation would be, I don't know, say easier, just more back and forth, me being able to, converse about whatever the topic is, as opposed to just listening to somebody, not, trying to understand what people are talking about. It's hard.
Do you remember the name of this series?
Of this series?
Uh-huh.
Why are
It's
you
okay.
testing me?
It's okay if you don't. It's okay if you don't.
Now,
Meaningful Connection and Contribution series.
there you go.
So I would venture to say, and I want you to correct me if I'm wrong, that what you're really saying you want when you say that you want to feel comfortable walking into a room isn't, because what I know of you is that you're not just trying to sell stuff.
No.
You're actually wanting to build relationships with people.
Yes.
Whether or not they ever work with you or not. Like you and I, like we we're building a relationship together. It wasn't like you were trying to sell me something. It wasn't like I was looking for what you were selling. Like it wasn't any of that. That wasn't part of the conversation at all when we first met, right? But what you are wanting is to meaningfully connect, and where possible, meaningfully contribute.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I think that's the biggest part, contribute. I want to be able to contribute in a meaningful way to a conversation.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And when you don't know something, let me rephrase that. When someone doesn't know something about you, how would you want them to interact with you?
Just ask. Just ask. It's very simple.
Are you the exception to that if you don't know something about someone else?
Meaning, what do you mean?
To just ask?
I don't know. Sometimes I have fear of asking.
Okay, tell me about that.
Again, like I don't want people to think that I am less of a person or not intelligent or, not worldly or.
Has that happened before?
I don't know. I don't know what someone else is thinking. This is all in my own brain. I have no idea what other people are thinking.
I know.
Absolutely. I know that.
Yeah. Have you had an experience where someone has treated you that way though before, or like, or do you have a history of experience?
No, it's not that anyone's treated me that way, but it's, if I'm in a conversation with, let's say, a whole bunch of people and everyone else is talking about whatever it is that we're talking about, and I'm just like, yeah, okay. I want to be part of the conversation. And I don't know if a lot of it is because I don't know the information, or if it's that shyness about me that is, people think like you're not shy. I don't know what you're talking about part. So I'm not exactly sure, but it's still my own insecurities. I feel better about how I look, that for sure.
But that's what's left. That's what happens when, right? So how you look was a good barrier before, but that barrier is now removed. So what you're saying is you spent a lot of time in your life hiding, and you've gradually pulled back those barriers, which the past 3.5 years has given you an opportunity to do. You pulled back this level, then this level, then this level. This is just the next level, right, of a barrier for you to pull back from hiding yourself. And what I hear you saying is like, this is a really intimate barrier. Like maybe this is one of the barriers that makes me feel most vulnerable, because now people will see me.
Yes.
And if they see me, they might not like what they see.
Possibly, yes.
They might not like what they see. They may question what they see. And the truth is that is true. There are likely to be people that, disagree with you, don't like you. This is something that I myself have had my own challenges with in the past as well, is, I want to meaningfully connect. I want to meaningfully contribute. And so if someone sees me in a way that doesn't align with that, like, I feel like I'm responsible for making that happen. But the reality is that we're not, and we can't be. It's not possible. So if we go back to focusing on how you meaningfully want to connect with people and what that looks like for you, which you've already said doesn't necessarily mean that you understand. Doesn't mean that you understand everything about them or what they do, because you can ask a question. What does it look like for you, Stacey Avery, for you to believe like, this is what it looks like for me to meaningfully connect with people? No matter what you think anyone else thinks it looks like, just what it looks like for you.
I don't know. I don't really know how to answer that question.
But that's the gap.
Right.
That's the gap. And that's also where your answer is. Because what I hear you saying is, I want to meaningfully connect and I want to meaningfully contribute, but I want to do it in a way that they see me that way.
Right.
But you've already said that you can't do that. So we have to define for you what you view as what it looks like for me to meaningfully connect. What's my definition of that? Does it mean that I ask questions? Does it mean that I just I just treat them compassionately, and wherever it goes, it goes? Does it mean that I want to share a bit about myself? Does it mean that I just want to ask a bit about them first? Does it mean that I just show up and I trust that if I have a question, it'll come up, and I just trust myself with where it goes? What does it mean? No one else can answer that for you, but this is the question. So if I were to coach you on this, what I would say is, you have homework, right? Like, you have a question to answer for yourself in your own journal, right? Of what you've already begun doing in your own way, is, what does it look like for me to meaningfully connect? You don't want to go the contribution route yet, because we can't really answer that question without putting pressure on you, until we can answer this question of, what does it look like for me to meaningfully connect? What does it look like for me to meaningfully connect in an authentic way? What does that look like? How would that feel for me? What are some words I might use to describe those experiences? When has that even happened for me before? Can I write that down? Can I envision that? Can I remember what that was like for me? What does it look like for me, Stacey Avery, to meaningfully connect? I want to get clear on that, because if I get clear on that, I have a structure. I have a basis from which to walk on, to lean on. That's your question, because that's the gap. How does that feel for you to try that out?
Yeah, it's interesting, because as you're talking, I'm thinking about it. I feel like I feel like I'm very self-confident. Coming into this conversation, I felt like I was very self-confident and things like that. But I'm clearly not. I'm clearly still working on a lot of that within myself.
We all always are.
I know.
Like, it's a secret. We all always are, like, in some capacity, in some area of our life. Like, we all always are. There's always another layer. I have known I was going to be a therapist since I was a child. I have studied human behavior for, I don't even know how long. I don't know, over 15, 20, I don't even know how many years, right? And every time I peel back a layer, I'm like, oh, there's another layer. All right, like, it's all I approach it now, just knowing that there's another layer.
Right.
Just knowing that there's another layer. Can I have love and compassion for myself, knowing there's literally always just going to be another layer?
Yes.
Or am I beat myself up? Right? Like, how we treat ourselves when that other layer comes up makes such a significant difference in how we continue to move down that path. But that's the gap. And so that's where we want you to just explore. Just explore. If you're open to it. I mean, you get the choice, as always.
Absolutely. Yeah, no, absolutely. Yeah, I'm going to be thinking about it a lot.
Awesome. Okay. Well, don't overthink it because I don't want you to stress yourself out. Just like give yourself a time frame for a little bit, right? And just write it out and then give yourself a break and then write it out, give yourself a break. So we're a little bit past our time, about a minute past our time, but I want to give you, Stacey, an opportunity to share ways that folks can contact you if they're interested in connecting with you in any way, shape, or form to learn more about you or what you do or how to work with you. So what's the best way for folks to reach out and connect with you?
So you can, I always encourage people to follow me on Facebook because you will learn everything there is to know about me. Well, most things to learn about me on Facebook. Stacey Avery, it's STAYCIAVERY. You can look me up on Facebook. You can follow me. You can friend me. You can send me instant message. I'm sorry, it's not called instant messages anymore. Just Messenger. I'm old schooling myself. Messenger. You can email me again, Stacey Avery, STAYCIAVERY @gmail.com. And I'd love to share about the program. I don't pressure anybody. You have to be completely 100% ready to want to make a change in your life. So when you are, reach out. And if you're not, you can still reach out and I can still, share the information with you, see if I can help you in any other way. Some people don't do the program and I'm still, I still work with them and I still help them and I guide them on the things that I can help guide them on because that's what I would have wanted someone to do for me. So Facebook, email, you can message me any way you want. That way, smoke signals, I might not see it right away, but with the fog outside or the smoke, but eventually I will.
Well, thank you so much, Stacey, for
you.
being here with us, for sharing about yourself, for your courageousness to be bold and vulnerable and share that with the world. You don't know who needed to hear what you shared today. So I really appreciate that you were willing to do that.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate this.
Thank you everyone for joining us. If you're catching the replay, go ahead and leave comments below. And if you're catching this on Facebook, just know that it's going to be removed in about 24 hours. And you'll be able to catch it on YouTube at any time. Share this link with anyone you think would benefit so that it can continue to live on to support those that need it most. All right, y'all. Bye.